Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. We started this conversation on restructuring on Monday, and here we are on Wednesday. You know, we had one viewpoint on Monday, another on Tuesday. We thought we'd just, for the time being, round off the whole thing with a third viewpoint. And our guest this morning is Hassan Abdulazeez Sani. He's a public affairs commentator and a mass communication professional. Thank you very, very much for coming on, Hassan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ivory.
Indeed. It is our pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Let me, since you've been following, I checked that before we came on, you've been following the conversation from Monday.
Yeah.
Why do you think that this question of restructuring is not going away? We might take a break from it, but invariably it'll come back again. Back in time, a little while back, it was Alhaji Atiku Abubakar that started it off. It got its own reaction. We went on to other things in the polity. Of recent, most recently in the Southwest, APC have picked up their baton and have said that, look, this is something we need to deal with. Why do you think it keeps on coming back?
Yeah, you see, you don't blame people for their opinions because as individuals, we are responsible for our actions. And when you see it, some people's opinion influences some people's opinion because there's a much more a latecomer to this issue of restructuring. That is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. And it gives credence, and it now arose the conscience of many people along the line to think the same way with him. No matter what he thought on his own for him to moot such kind of idea out. But you see, people have reasons for their actions, yes, and to express their own opinion as enshrined in the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria.
But let me quickly say that, as you are well aware, even though I referred to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president, when he brought it up, he was not the originator of it at all.
He wasn't.
It's a long-standing topic.
It's a long agitation. It's a long clamoring.
Do you agree with it, by the way? The call for restructuring.
The call for restructuring. I agree with call for restructuring, but not in their own way, because as a human being, we have, the way I look at it, the restructuring issue is a matter of semantics.
Okay, when you said not in their own way, could you help me understand what you think is their own way that you don't agree with? Because restructuring seems straightforward enough.
What I don't agree with it is this. A lot of people came to this fora and made their own opinions known to each and everybody, to the hearing of Nigerians. And I could remember when I came here last month, August, that was in August, a caller called from Ikeja by name Mr. George. And he made it categorically clear what those people meant by restructuring. Restructuring to them meant people should go their different ways. You understand? And even the vice president of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mr. Yemi Osinbajo's son, objected to it, and he now gave his own opinion about it.
Well, because you mentioned a person that is well known, just as you are well known to the program, I'm not too sure that Mr. George, calling in from Ikeja, actually advocated a parting of ways. But if he's listening to this, he probably will call in to clarify. And when we started this conversation off on Monday, you recall that our guest, Honorable Wale Oshun, had said that the restructuring, he said, let me start from there and saying this has nothing whatsoever to do with a parting of ways. Not that at all. But we can still restructure when we have an agreement about how we shall live together. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, let me go back to Mr. George issue.
Okay.
When Mr. George called, he made it known that what these people are asking for, what they are asking for is disintegration. Immediately you allow them to do it. What they wanted is disintegration of this country.
even though there are protestations, that is not the intention.
Let me put it verbatim to you,
Sure.
what Mr. George said. He said, what we are after is good governance. We are not after all this.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
That was my own understanding of him, and I had him because
Okay.
I was here then.
Okay. So, you seem to be saying that if it is not about a splitting up of Nigeria, which quite frankly I don't think anybody in his right mind is saying, that is just my personal opinion. If it is not about that, then let's talk about restructuring. What do we understand restructuring to be? And there are so many different aspects to restructuring according to all the commentators.
My understanding of restructuring is patriotic restructuring.
How would that work?
Thank you. It's a restructuring of mind. Positively. Positive restructuring of mind. You see...
This is what the Kano State Governor said, that this whole call for restructuring, let people just go and restructure their mental atmosphere.
I said it here before the Kano State Governor said it. You see, the way I look at this country, I look at this country as one. Despite our different background, different temperament, different idiosyncrasies. But we have unity among ourselves.
Of course.
Nigerian people, when the elites are talking, busy talking about restructuring, Nigerians, we are busy trying or electing their national leader. And they restructure their mind to elect national leader. They don't restructure their mind to elect a regional leader. And you see them voting with alacrity. Nobody is forcing anybody. We're in a free society. So it is unfair for just a small clique of elites to be talking on behalf of majority of people that are happy living together.
You really believe that?
I believe that.
The vast majority of people are happy without the implications of the calls for restructuring.
Yes. There's unison in one thing. Everybody is clamoring for. The majority of Nigeria. What they are clamoring for is good governance.
Let me ask you something, Alhaji Hassan. When, in the past, in the days of Sardauna, Awolowo, Azikiwe, there was that structure. Were we not united then?
Yeah, you see, the problem we had in Nigeria is that we were discovered. That is the problem. I went my own way to think about Nigeria. I go my own way to think about Nigeria. In the sense that I don't look at Nigeria as something that somebody would just express his own sentiment and I would take it hook, line, and sinker. You understand? I look at Nigeria as a discovered country where some people came, conquered the country, and dish out their own interest in it. Let me take you down memory lane.
You're talking about the colonial era.
The colonial era. You see, when the colonial masters came, in 1922, when we had a Clifford Constitution, we have officials, executive officials that run the country, 36 of them. Out of 36, 13 of them are unofficial. And among these unofficial, of these 36, the 6 are Nigerians. The 7 are representing the colonial interest, business interest, like shipping, banking, and manufacturing, like UAC and Co. then. And among these 6 that are Nigerians, that are indigenous, I'm just trying to buttress the point of all this regionalism we are talking about. It's not even our own making. We are trying to go back to what we were not even part of in making the regional system in Nigeria. In the sense that among the 6, we had 2 emirs from the north. You understand? We had the Alafin of Oyo. We had the Oba of Lagos. We have the Obong of Calabar. And Benin Wari Aziz. Oba from Benin Wari Aziz. And those people, they don't have a say. They are just there. They're just nominal. Their own view is adversary. So even people that came to Nigeria, discovered us, and gave us the regional system, We are not the people that mooted the idea. It was imposed on us. And we are running back to something that was imposed on us. That was my one point of disagreement with them. Any arrangement you see in Nigeria, it was imposed on us by the colonial masters. And even before then, you see that Sadona of Sokoto, Alhaji Amadu Bello, and Chief Obama Olo, in 1951, before the independence, they were made the leaders of government businesses. You understand? By the colonial masters of government businesses. Then from 1954 to 1959, Awolowo was made the premier of Western region. The same thing applies to Sadona of Sokoto. And coincidentally, these people were born the same year. You understand? But all this, what I'm trying to bring out here is very clear. Even the regional system we are talking about, how far have we gone? The people that are clamoring for it, let me puncture it here. How far have they gone with even the infrastructure, the investment left by Amadu Bello Sadona of Sokoto, the investment left behind by Chief of Afem Awolowo? All the investment were not faring well. So we knew of the Wema board.
Yes.
Mr. Yori, let me finish. We knew of Wema board. We knew of the Odua group. Is the Odua group faring well? The answer is no. Is the NDDC in the Northern Nigeria Development Company, is it faring well? No. And I have reason for saying that.
Because I was going to, quite frankly, you've taken us to where I was going to go. Because I was going to ask you, what do you think happens to the groundnut pyramids, the rubber, the cocoa, and all of this, the coal, all of those kind of things? What happened? What do you think happened?
What happened is that people that came after them mismanaged everything and squandered everything. You can see the reflection of it in the inability of the state governors to even pay salaries.
Yes.
Had it been the Wema board is working, Osun state government have no reason not to pay salaries. Oyo state government have no reason to have backlog of salaries. The same thing in the northern side of the country, where many governors were unable to pay salaries. And you are telling us to go back to the regional system that you people frustrated from working.
The arrangement at the time was such that the different regions, zones, had their areas of comparative advantage and strength.
Yeah.
And there are those who posit that the country was, quite frankly, better for it because they were all, everybody was creative, everybody was productive. Unlike now, when you talked about we can't even pay salaries in certain states anymore. Yeah. You talk about that. That's because, so say the commentators, that's because people have just gotten lazy. Governors, you're talking about good governors. Governors have gotten lazy, so they say, because they are assured, very much like the quote-unquote civil servant, 30 days make one pay. Even if I don't lift a little finger, I will get something at the end of the day. It wasn't so, it is alleged, in the times of yore. Now, isn't that, if nothing else, a reason to remove such lackadaisical attitude to governance? You started off by saying that, quoting one of our viewers, Mr. George, saying that what is required is good governance. Where is this good governance? What is the incentive for good governance?
Thank you very much, Mr. Yori. You see, I'm trying to, let me buttress my point once more again to you and to the listeners. You see, when people are saying, let me divorce my first wife, let me go back to the second wife, you are finding that the second wife is much more conducive to you to go back to. But now, even the infrastructure, the investment left that you wanted to run back to, there's nothing to run back to.
There's nothing to run back to?
Yes. You see, we were guided by colonial masters. Unfortunately, these colonial masters are much more economically okay and best managers of economy than us.
But Alhaji Hassan, how can you say there's nothing to go back to? Just sticking with that narrow point, when you know how potentially rich this country is, if only all those resources, there is nowhere that there is not, that we don't have minerals in this country. If everybody has labor, the most valuable asset, everybody has that.
Do you know what is happening?
What?
There's no side of this country that is redundant economically. Every side, go to the north, there is a lot of potentials. economic potentials,
But
a lot of mineral resources.
why is it not actualized?
The issue is this. You see, what made us all lazy is the discovery of oil. We all sat down and we are now sharing. Before, there was no oil. There's Northern Pyramid in Kano, and this Northern Pyramid is even the manpower of a human being that made the country great. People farm to have the groundnut, to have the cotton.
The North virtually feeds the country.
To have the system seed,
Yes.
to have everything. But you see, what is lacking here is sincerity of purpose. We don't have sincerity of purpose.
Now we're getting the hang of
if you
it.
like, the agitators of restructuring, immediately, anybody, I knew there's no any leader in this country that will accede to their demand, because it's not a realistic demand. And let us even assume that somebody come one day and accede to their demand.
Again.
There will be serious problem, because they will go back there and they will find nothing.
They'll go back to the whatever we evolve.
Yes.
Yeah, because nobody is saying go back as if it were put a tracing paper and get a carbon copy of what was happening in the 40s, 50s, and that's not what people are saying. But people are saying that there was a model where everybody, every region, every zone, whatever you want to call it at the time, was up and doing, and no zone was lacking. But you've just said that following the curse of oil discovery, sorry for using the word, we then were able to go to sleep. What do you have against the idea, Alhaji Hassan, of all the regions being federating units? In other words, this talk about restructuring comes back to this whole question of true federalism. And then you have a weak center, it comes in where it should come in. Of course, the army, the security of the country and all of that. And everybody pays their dues to the center. It takes care of, all the things that the federal government will take care of. What do you have against that? As opposed to this unitary system where the federal government doles out to the regions as it sees fit and by guidance of the Constitution. What do you have against that?
Do those people consider the population of Nigeria as of today?
So what about the
population? Do they even consider the mindset of Nigeria as of today?
Well, in terms of the population, we're not as big as America.
Do they consider the needs, the taste of Nigeria as of today? For you to be fair to yourself and to humanity, take a look at the people. Take a look at them and find out what was their situation before and what is their situation today.
Do you think it's worse or better?
Thank you. In the sense that we are much more sophisticated today, fraudulently.
Oh, well, thank you.
You understand?
Because I was going, if you didn't add it, I was going to add it. Fraudulently sophisticated.
Fraudulently sophisticated.
So we're coming back to the whole question you brought up earlier, sincerity of purpose. We're not sincere.
Yes, we're not sincere.
We're not sincere.
You see, the issue is not about the mission. It's about us. You understand? If you like today, go back to your former status, go back to regional system created for you by the colonial government. You understand? But the problem you will have is this. All the civil servants will collapse to these different regions. The same civil servants that are used to padding the budget, the same National Assembly that are used to padding the budget, the same irresponsible leadership we had, they will collapse to this system and they will continue to run the system. It's a vicious cycle.
You think?
Yes, it's a vicious cycle. So, look, it is high time we begin to look at Nigeria as a baby child. Stop looking at Nigeria from the angle of this one is a Hausa man, this one is a Yoruba man, this one is an Igbo man. No, you are not helping matters. Look at them as your children and treat them equally. You will see the best result in them.
What do you think then of the idea that, look, this Hausa man, Igbo man, and Yoruba man, and of course there are a lot of other men in this country. It's not just that tripod. So many different men in this country to follow this line of thinking. They would know themselves best. They would know their areas of comparative advantage. They would know, what is best for them and what they need to do. And then with that healthy competition, there would be much more unity in diversity.
Mr. Yori, let me elaborate on one thing to you. of one thing to you. You see, this issue of competition started immediately after the independence.
Healthy competition.
Because the competition, there was a room for the competition.
Okay, and there's nothing wrong with competition?
No, the issue is there's nothing wrong with the competition. Because the competition was mooted by the colonial masters. Do you know the irony of it? Do you know the irony of it? A colonial master divided you into three: southern, west, east, north. And then the same colonial master now asks you, struggle for the power at the center. Is that not an irony? It's ironical.
Are you suggesting that before the colonial master, as you call them, came along, we were one happily united country?
Look, what divided...
Before the colonial masters came along to splinter us. Is that your suggestion?
Yes. Do you know why? Colonialism can only strive in a divided and rule environment. You understand? It can only strive in a divided and rule environment. In a united environment, it will never go. They knew. That was why, even in the eastern Nigeria that time, they found it difficult. The indirect rule really suffered in the eastern Nigeria because they made people that are entirely different, people that are Republicans. You understand? Unlike in the southwest and the northern Nigeria, where there was already established ancient political system. You understand? You have, in the southwest, you have the Oyomesis. You understand? In the north,
yes,
you have the Sultanate, the Caliphate.
Yes.
You have the Emirates. You understand? They have their own political system in place. So they found it very simple to rule over these people. While over there, they found it very difficult because they needed somebody to control the people on their behalf. And that was what brought the idea of warrant chiefs in the eastern Nigeria. We are going back to history now. You see, the way I see this country, the way I'm seeing this country, Nigerian people, all we need is sincerity of purpose. When we say something,
yes,
let us walk the talk.
Okay. Now, before we came on air, we were chatting, as we often do. And I said at the top of the program that happily you had seen the program on Monday, Tuesday, and now here we are together today. Now, yesterday, Dr. Chimanaji was here, and he had this interesting verbal illustration of a large family of 10, mother, father, 8 kids, 2 of them with voracious appetites that were shortchanging the other 6 children. And he continued this interesting verbal picture that when the kids who were not getting fed enough said, Mommy, I think we need separate plates. Let's continue. Let's now have different separate plates. He said, then a cry will go up, say, no. This family must be united. Nothing must touch on our unity. And the people are going, 6 of them are going hungry in his illustration. 2 only that have this voracious appetite are being well fed. Before we came on there, you told me that you took certain exception to that illustration.
Yeah,
right?
You see,
right?
Is it Dr. Naji?
Dr. Naji.
Dr. Naji.
Dr. Chima
yesterday.
Naji.
You see, Dr. Naji is a very good speaker. And
just as you are.
I look at him as somebody that delivers message. Later, you deduct it in your life and you get to know it later. You digest it on your own.
Of course.
You see, this issue of somebody taking more than he was supposed to, I look at it from the angle of the inefficient government, irresponsive government, and irresponsible government. But this government is a responsible government.
Oh yes, without doubt.
This is not a government of chop, I chop. We don't look at government from the angle of chop. No, you look at governance from the angle of service. Because somebody is looking at somebody as if somebody is, shortchanging him.
But you can't deny that there are instances where it would seem, if you look at it on the surface, there would appear to be a bit of unfairness. Now, I'm not saying this goes right.
Do you know why we are seeing that way?
Take VAT.
Yeah,
payments, for example.
Do you know why we are seeing that way?
Why do you think?
When you talk of VAT, let me go straight to your point about the VAT issue of Lagos, right?
Yeah.
Lagos is a microcosm of Nigeria.
One moment. Hold the thought, Alhaji, so that we can come back. I want you to remember where you were so we can come back to it. We started off with Mr. George calling in from Ikeja.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I think he's listening. He's called in right now. Okay. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in.
And good morning to Alhaji Hassan.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Uncle Yori, I don't know how much time you can give me to explain myself properly on this subject.
Well, I think you can take 60 seconds, 90 seconds.
All right, thanks. Alhaji Hassan is very right on his interpretation of what I said, and which I am still saying. I said that most of those who are clamoring for this restructuring have a hidden agenda. That it started from someone that is aggrieved or someone that lost an election and looking for a way to make it uneasy for the winner. The restructuring of this country cannot be said sincerely to be on our list of priorities today. Let me paint a picture. Somebody that builds a house is the one that determines how that house will be. Is it restructuring of that house that we need now, or the welfare of the occupants? All those who have been putting up arguments that we need restructuring, I want somebody to convince me that if you restructure Nigeria as they are clamoring, there will no more be stealing of public funds. There will no more be padding of budgets. There will no more be marginalization of people. Remember the last constitutional conference, there were requests for 50 additional states. What does that tell you, Uncle Yori? If restructuring as people are clamoring is done today, there will be another round of clamoring for restructuring within the restructured structure. So the problem is not with the restructuring, the problem is with our attitude. If there's any restructuring to be done at all, it should be restructuring of our attitude, or what Governor Tinubu once called, he called it common sense revolution. We should change our attitude to public property, to public service. It should not be seen as going to loot to better the lot of the public servant. It should be about using the means that belongs to the people to serve the people. You are just an agent. As long as we think in the direction of ourselves, like you see with most of our public elected officials, we will not get anywhere.
Okay.
People will be clamoring. What I can see is people are clamoring for sharing of the money. They are not clamoring to share or to participate in the service of the people. And service to the people is what we need. So I am saying that most of those who are clamoring for this restructuring, they know that there were some people who had genuine concerns about restructuring in the past. Because of their hidden 2019 ambition, they are trying to cash in on those people. They know very well that they will come out to support the restructure. That is what they are simply doing. What they really want to do is a way to dismember this country and make it ungovernable for the one that won an election. This is what I'm saying, and this is what I'm still saying.
Okay, Mr. George, but just before you go, is it then, in your opinion, that there is no merit whatsoever to the whole question of restructuring for now?
It depends on what type of restructuring you are talking about. We have to first of all know that whatever restructure we do now, as long as our inner attitude is the same, it will not make it will not give us any effect.
All right then. Thank you very, very much, Mr. George, for calling in. So at least we got the closure on that. You're starting out quoting him, and he, as it were, buttressing your quote, affirming it. We'll take a break now. Stay with us, please. When we come back, we'll continue this very interesting conversation, and we'll include more of your calls.